Welcome into the Sunday Sports Frenzy. It's the first weekend of spring 2021. We still have tons of winter sports action to talk about, and I hope you didn't bet against Sister Jean in the NCAA tournament. I'm Todd SITDOWN, Andrew Callista, Alex Cawley, and Lindsey Barna are ready to go. Let's get started with 30 minutes of local sports tonight on the Frenzy.
Some of these guys coming here in a COVID year when everything was shut down, we don't know which meeting room is what. So it's been an experience. We all kind of take care of each other, like a family does.
The Penn State football family is back together for spring practice. Why a return to normalcy is important to return the Nittany Lions to national prominence. It's Final Four time in the PIAA basketball tournament. Half a dozen local teams continue their deep run in the brackets. What the next step is in their quest for state gold.
It was just lonely. There was nobody here, and I can recall just sitting in the stands by myself, hoping I never have to do this again.
And the fan capacity continues to grow for outdoor events. Pocono Raceway President Ben May is our Sunday sit-down guest. He tells us what the new limits mean for the upcoming NASCAR races at the Tricky Triangle. First, the Bears are back on home ice for a date with the Devils. Now, the same two teams played on Friday in Newark. The 6-5 road loss was kind of shocking for two reasons. It snapped the Devils' 8-game losing streak. More disturbingly, the Bears led 4-1 at one point and then gave up 5 unanswered goals in the 6-5 setback. Coach Carberry challenged them to come out strong today. They respond. Garrett Pilon's been consistently good all year. Cleans up the long rebound to tie the game at 1. The Bears barraged the net with almost 50 shots in regulation. They need this flurry in front to send it to overtime. Connor McMichael stuffs home the equalizer, and it's 2-2 headed to OT. Can't see the clock, but trust me, it's under 5 seconds and barely on 1 when McMichael one-times it in for the game winner. March Madness-style buzzer beater as Hershey gets their dramatic 3-2 win.
I didn't know how many seconds were left, but Peels made a great play to me, and I was just trying to get it on net, and I don't know how much time was even left, but thankfully I beat the buzzer.
He's got that clutch gene in him where when the game's on the line, he wants to be out there. He believes that he's going to get the job done, or he's going to score the big goal, or he's going to make the big play. And that's a heck of a quality.
Then next up for the Bears, a road date in the Lehigh Valley on Wednesday night against the Phantoms. Penn State wrestling, it's NCAA champs or bust with the Nittany Lions. It seems harsh. When you win 8 of the last 9 championships, second best is not good enough. PSU scores big with 4 individual champions. They finished second overall to conference rival Iowa. The good news, the Lions are one of the youngest teams in the country, so they expect to return to their spot on top of the sport next season. In football, the Lions expect a quick bounce back to national prominence after a subpar 2020 season. One of the many reasons they struggled was the lack of a spring practice. More new coaches on the staff, including offensive coordinator Mike Yursich. So all 15 spring workouts are extremely valuable. And Coach Franklin understands the importance of making up for lost time.
We're definitely approaching it that way. Same thing with camp. We're going to have to take a similar approach when we get to summer camp because we did not have a traditional summer camp last year as well. So yeah, we're approaching it as if this is a tremendous opportunity to build our team from the ground up.
15 practices for the spring. No traditional blue-white game, but the team will scrimmage at Beaver Stadium in front of the university's first-year students.
It wasn't that long ago that Penn State was talking about the Lawn Boys, which is what the bevy of Nittany Lion running backs called themselves. Then we have one transfer, another medically retire. Stack on top of that, injuries in this offseason. Penn State and their running backs coach Jaywan Siders are in search of answers. Devin Ford, Kevon Lee, Keziah Holmes, and a transfer in John Lovett are all finding their fit in the depth chart. And Siders says that they are hopeful to get Noah Kane back from injury towards the end of this spring.
He's diligent into the playbook and in every meeting. What I love about him is he's starting to come out of his shell and being a leader in the room. He's such an athlete with his personality when he speaks. and the guys responding to him. I think he kind of really welcomed John in the room, and that was kind of gave John a little freedom to kind of blend in with the guys.
Sider also added that having been an assistant coach at West Virginia, he's quite familiar with Mike Yursich's offensive style. This Thursday will also be Penn State's Pro Day on campus. Pat Fryermuth, Will Fries, Michael Mennett, Shaka Toney, Jason Oweh, and of course, Harrisburg's own Micah Parsons are just some that will be taking part. The NFL Scouting Combine has been folded into these team pro days, so there's even a bigger emphasis this year. And Purdue's basketball season came to a surprising end against North Texas in the first round. If there's a silver lining, it's that new Penn State men's basketball coach Micah Shrewsbury can get to work sooner, as he has arrived on campus this afternoon and even got to tour the Bryce Jordan Center with his family.
That horn is a familiar sound for state championship swimmers this weekend. The location, though, new for most, Cumberland Valley High School, where District 3 swimmers felt right at home. Shippensburg's Julia Strine has won here before, and she claims gold in the 3A 100-yard breaststroke. A big moment for the Greyhounds program and redemption for Strine, who was locked out last year.
You never know when your last race is. So being able to be here today, I knew that I wanted to give it my all for this season and the season that I didn't get to finish out last year's.
Trinity's Kari Powell was the top seed in the 2A 100-yard breast. She held serve, and that medal looks awfully nice on the Shamrock sophomore. Smiles were the mood all day in the pool as the Eagles proved to be a fantastic host. CV coach Michael Govrak spun the tunes, and the kids and referees felt the beat. The Hershey girls of Callie Orley, Tori Tafuto, Angela Waronko, and Claire Ryland wanted to go out on top. Clean exchanges are the key in the 3A 200 free relay, on their way to celebrate first in a 1:34.16. In 2A boys, McDevitt wrote a bestseller. After all, they do have a senior Patrick Hemingway. They break a school record to claim 200 medley relay gold. The Crusaders also go on to win the team race with 142.5 points. And we have a first-timer not only for the swimmer, but the school as well. Big Springs' Matthew Aradaba saves his best for last. Breaststroke gold in the 2A 100. Number one is always remembered.
I never thought I'd be here, especially my junior year. I still got another year. I'm only a junior in high school, so hopefully next year I'll be back here and hopefully I can do it again.
The blaze at the CV pool is now extinguished until it lights again next year.
High school hoop season is winding down as we have hit the final four of the PIAA state playoffs, and we still have 6 teams from our region lacing them up. And 4 of them will be on the hardwood on Monday at 5 p.m. The Cumberland Valley girls will be in action in Altoona against North Allegheny in the 6A semis. An hour later at Hempfield High School in Greensburg, PA, the Lower Dolphin boys will meet Erie Cathedral Prep in the 5A Final Four. To the 4A level, Middletown will feel right at home as they're at home taking on Allentown Central Catholic for a 7 p.m. tip-off. And in 1A, La Academia Charter is heading to Lancaster Catholic High School again, where they will meet Nativity BVM, who are slated for a 7 p.m. tip-off. Shifting to Tuesday, Spring Grove's run through the 5A state playoffs continues as they take on Chartiers Valley at Bald Eagle Area High School in Wingate, PA. They get going at 6 p.m. And at the same time in Evansburg, PA, DeLone Catholic meets Villa Marie at Central Cambria High School in the 4A Final Four.
Baps, Selinsgrove, and Path Valley all host openers this weekend, and if you haven't noticed, there's an old but familiar face racing around Central PA. The Madman installs his seat into the Barshinger Racing number 24, and I catch up with Carrie Madsen. That's next in the Fast Lane.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Frenzy. A big weekend on the mats with the NCAA Wrestling Championships. Mifflin County's Hayden Hadley places 5th at 157 pounds. His brother Trent at 184 matched up against Penn State's Aaron Brooks. Trent with a near takedown as time was running out. Call not given, closing seconds. Trent can't get Brooks. He takes second place. Penn State, by the way, 4 for 4 in the finals. Boiling Springs' Corbin Myers in third place bout at 133. Shoots for 2, but he loses a tight one to take 4th and All-American status for the Hokie. Some excitement at Spooky Nook on Sunday. Pennsylvania's Girls State Wrestling Championships, part of the sanctioned PA movement. A rough year overall for sports, but for girls wrestling, more grapplers here this year than last, with 125 girls representing about 40 schools statewide. The goal for next year is to have 25 official girls teams, which would be up from 9 this past year.
Definitely in several years from now, we are looking at girls wrestling as an official PIAA sport.
That would be big. The girls' action fast and furious on the mat. No matter if it was a parent, wrestler, or coach, the excitement level started to rise before the first whistle.
Walking into the Girls State Championship, it's just, you have this incredible feeling. It's excitement. It's also some nerves. You just hope for the best performance, that, you know, that your girls give everything they have and leave it all out there.
Wrestlers do that every single bout.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Frenzy. This driver has raced through Central PA for years, on tour with the All-Stars and most recently with the World of Outlaws, and now races for a team right in our own backyard. I caught up with Australian sprint car driver Kerry Madsen.
It's a typical game of on the off-season, musical chairs.
The Madman pushes off the 2021 racing season with his new team. Not in Australia, not in Knoxville, Iowa, but right here in Central PA. Kerry Madsen typically goes to Australia during the winter months, but this year, COVID cancels his plans of racing in his home country. Being a free agent over the off-season, he was able to get some time in the seat in Florida before making the trip to PA.
First time in a long time I've had the chance to sort of little time away, and you know, sometimes you think you get a little sick of, not sick of it, but just a little wore down, and a couple of nights off was great to recharge batteries and just get excited to go racing.
Car owner Mike Barshinger says the timing of it all couldn't have been better for the duo to team up.
I wasn't quite ready to give up racing yet for a little while, and my wife doesn't want me around the house a whole lot yet, so yeah, we were definitely planning on going racing, and it's just getting the right person to do it. When Kerry called me, I'm like, man, this is a perfect fit.
With a fresh start, they're taking 1 week at a time. The team doesn't have a set schedule, but they do have plans of racing at Eldora, Knoxville, and entered into the dirt race at Bristol.
You know, you can't put the cart before the horse. We've got to go out there and just work around it, be fast early, and then the wins will take care of themselves.
The Madman didn't have a 410 feature win in 2020, but in just his second race in the Barshinger number 24, he leads a handful of laps at Port Royal's opener and finishes second, eager to see what the rest of the season brings. We're racing at almost every track this weekend, openers at Selinsgrove, Path Valley, and Babs. In the Super Sportsman at Babs, Frankie Hurd gets Ketty Enkin on the inside, coming to 3 laps to go. Hurd becomes the first winner in 2021 at Babs. Chase Billette won the late model, and Billy Workman for the Central PA Legends. At Lincoln, Alan Crimes makes a great move to Freddie Ramers inside to take the lead. He's the 4th different driver to win at Lincoln this season. Last year's 358 points champion Cody Fletcher wins the 358 feature. Port Royal hosts 3 divisions Saturday. Justin Peck starts second and immediately jets to the lead. Goes green to checker, leading every lap to capture the A main. Greg Satterley won the Super Lates, and Matt Parks wins the Limited Lates. Want more racing talk? Stay with us. I catch up with Pocono track president Ben May in our Sunday sit down. Welcome back. Nearly a week since Governor Wolf revises the mitigation orders for Pennsylvania. Last year, Pocono Raceway hosted their first ever doubleheader without a single fan in the stands. Now less than 100 days out and the possibility of having 50% capacity, I caught up with track president Ben May in our Sunday sit down. Ben, thanks for joining us. I know the crazy regulations that finally came down this week. What has the planning been like, and how excited are you guys to finally get the 2021 racing season going?
Yeah, we're thrilled. It's been a wild year for the whole world, of course, and sports is no different. But to get some clarity and to be able to plan for our fans is thrilling, and our partners and sponsors. It's a big deal. we held our races last summer, and it was great for the sport, and it was it was spectacular to get them in for those that were watching on TV and on the second screen. But it was just lonely. There was nobody here, and I can recall just sitting in the stands by myself, hoping I never have to do this again. So we, it was good, and NASCAR did a great job of doing everything safely with the drivers and teams, and we'll continue to push that forward going into 2021 for the doubleheader, June 25th to the 27th.
Now I'm going to bounce back to 2019 when NASCAR first announced you guys were hosting the doubleheader. I can only imagine how much planning was going on, and then to have 2020 happen.
Yeah, for sure. And the momentum was amazing, right? It was the first ever NASCAR doubleheader, and in modern history, which is since the early 70s. So people, folks love the concept of it, and they still do. The fact that we didn't raise our ticket prices, we didn't raise our camping prices. We just have 2 races on Saturday with the Camping World Truck Series and the NASCAR Cup Series, and then Sunday with the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. And the value is amazing, and people were thrilled, and our sales were spectacular. They were through the roof, and then then March happened. But the planning was there, and then somebody asked me not too long ago. They're like, well, what's changed in your thought process from going into 20 versus into 21 and planning for the doubleheader? And I'd say, well, I guess nothing, or I don't know, considering we never got a chance to execute on it. So we're going to give it another shot.
And hopefully finally have that debut that people can see in person.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I have some videos on my phone of an empty racetrack that I keep wanting to delete because they make me sad, but I haven't yet.
I feel like racing was really the turning point last year, even though Pennsylvania was a little late to the game to say, hey, we could have these major sporting events. But how do you think NASCAR in itself was able to really gather the United States together and people being home?
Yeah, they did an excellent job with the iRacing, and when that first iRacing event was on in March or April last year, it was amazing. It was on network television, and it was a big deal. And you missed sport. You didn't know what to do. You were confused, and you had your kids running around the house, and it was it was just a weird time. But NASCAR, on some level, it was just well suited to continue and to pick back up when the pandemic, when we got some clarity. The nice part is that our drivers are wearing helmets, they're wearing gloves, they're wearing suits, the pit crew members, and everybody's wearing helmets. So there wasn't that general contact you have in basketball, football, hockey. We were able to keep folks isolated. At the race last summer, I never made it down. I never went into the garage or the infield area. That wasn't part of the plan. The plan was, if you don't have, if you're not part of making a race car move, then you do your thing and the teams will do their thing. And it worked out really, really well. Again, the Wolf administration was great in working with us, and us saying to them, this is the reality. These guys and girls aren't, they just aren't near each other and don't have to be to make this work.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
For this full interview and more, catch it all on our website, fox43.com/frenzy. And still to come, we like to say our favorite parts of the week. It's our Frenzy 5 picks after the break.
We're back on the Frenzy. Winter is in the rear view mirror, right where I like it. Before we completely spring forward, we look back at a few things that stood out from the previous week in our Frenzy 5.
Next, we go to the ice for one of my favorite things you will see in sports. Number 1 moment in hockey is goalie fight. Number 2 is goalie goals. That is what happens here. Bears play-by-play man Zach Fish shared it on Twitter from Tri-City Storm. Todd Scott goes the length of the ice for the score, and look at that celebration. That won't be topped this year. What an awesome moment.
He's now a Pennsylvania State Wrestling Champion. As a senior, one of the perks is an invite to the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic. Cumberland Valley's Jake Lucas receives and accepts the invite to a big-time national tournament held the first Friday in April. Lucas will compete in the 220-pound class. Just won the PIAA's 215-pound title. Lucas will attend the Naval Academy Prep School starting in the summer.
For My Frenzy 5, how about breaking a school record, placing 3rd at the national championship, and becoming an All-American? That's Manheim Township's Sydney Horn, just a freshman at High Point University at the national championship, clears 14 feet 5.5 inches to become the highest placing athlete on the NCAA stage for High Point.
Well, if you're talking about the 2021 high school basketball season, at some point you're going to get to Warwick's Kai Sapala. Can he dunk? Yup. Does the big man show finesse? Absolutely. And this week he made his hometown even happier because he is committed to play at Millersville when his time as a Warrior comes to a close. It's a great step for Sapala, and it's even fun for us because, well, we still get to cover him.
I was on the frozen stuff before, so let's change states to liquid and head back to swim championships. Cumberland Valley did a great job hosting with the music and the cardboard cutouts of parents in the stands. But I found a couple of celebrities in the stands. Charlie Conway, a.k.a. Joshua Jackson, and this guy, Tom Hanks. They were cheering on the swimmers all day long. It was a great time. They made their way home with me. And Cumberland Valley, if you need them back, I'll keep them safe, and you know where to find me.
Oh, imagine Callista as a cardboard cutout. That would be a top seller. And that's going to wrap up this edition of the Sunday Sports Frenzy. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to see or share any of our stories, make sure you check out our website at fox43.com/frenzy. For Andrew, Lindsay, and Alex, I'm Todd Sadowski. We'll see you next time.